Record from your end.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our end of year review for 2021. We are Just Because Wrestling, of course, and it's been a while since we've done an episode. I can't remember the last one we did. I know we did the Crown Jewel watch along, and then
I think that was the last episode we did. No,
was it? Was there one in between? Did we do one for Full Gear? I'm not sure.
We actually might have. I think, yeah.
Yeah, I think we did one for Full Gear. But yeah, this is our end of year review. Of course, we had to get this in because these are always good episodes. But yeah, it's been a mad year. 2020, like we thought 2020 was mad. 2021 was probably madder. Just because we're still in, the COVID-19 era of wrestling, and that's still a huge issue. We got the return of fans, and
the return of flans too somewhere.
The return of Mexican desserts, but
yeah. Well, Mexican restaurants reopened in 2019, so we did get the return of flans.
Yeah, we did. But yeah. So anyway, fans came back. A whole bunch of stuff happened that we'll talk about more detail in a bit. But yeah, I mean, 2021 is now very, very close to being over. We're in the dying embers of the year, and yeah, 2022. I don't want to get my hopes up because every time we do that, something bad happens. I'm being starkly reminded every day that it's pronounced 2022, and like it's. Yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. I'm not gonna say any, I know we have to do predictions for what happens in 2022, but I'm also kind of scared. But yeah, 2021. What do you think? What do you think of the year, Jack? In a nutshell, what do you think it was?
Well, I think just to start off, I think when I went back yesterday and listened to our review for 2020 and our preview for 2021, as I do every year, and I think it's like the more things change, the more they stay the same. There was a lot, obviously, in that episode last year. The main topic was COVID and a lot of uncertainty and all that. But and here we are 1 year later, and we are back in the uncertain. We're probably even more in uncertain times than we were this time last year. Last year we were like properly in the shit, and now we don't know whether we're in the shit or not.
This is it. Like,
what's going to happen next?
Yeah, like this stage last year, we had like no one vaccinated, no boost, not even boosters weren't even a thought. No one even had vaccinations. Now the majority of people are vaccinated. The majority of people are boosted as well. And yet we have more cases now than we've ever had. The anti-vaxxers are having a field day. But yeah, look, it's just, the virus is mutating. It's developing new variants, new more transmissible variants. And look, we could get into the biology of it all, but we're not, because we'll just end up.
All I know is the WHO yesterday came out and said we have the facilities to end this pandemic in 2022. So yeah, I'm going to trust them.
Like if we're gonna take anyone's word for it, like it's gonna be the WHO, because look, this isn't Dáil Éireann saying this. This isn't bloody Stephen Donnelly coming out and going, this is gonna end in 2022. It's this is actual experts on the situation.
Yeah.
It was
so from there.
We'll leave it at that.
We don't know what's coming next. We don't know if everything's kind of uncertain at the moment in terms of will things worsen, and what does that mean then for wrestling? Does that mean we see the return of the Thunderdome? What happens as we come closer to the Rumble now and we come closer to WrestleMania? What happens there? So everything's kind of uncertain. Like this time next year when I do our 2023 preview, when I do the research for that, I could be going back listening to this and laughing about how it's all fine, or I could be going back tearing my hair out being like, how are we still in this situation? But yeah, so that's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough being said on that now. So will we get into it? We'll get into our first off our review of the year.
Yeah.
Which has been one of the most bizarre years. And COVID aside, like I think if we didn't have COVID, we'd still be saying it was one of the most bizarre years.
Absolutely, yeah.
Given the amount of people who are working in different companies than when we did this time last year, and that will reflect a lot in our predictions from last year, as you'll see. But yeah, I think we'll start off just on highlights of the year, Billy. I'll let you have the first one. I imagine we both have kind of the same one main highlight of the year. So
yeah,
take us away.
Well, I suppose the biggest thing to come out of 2021, and I think you would agree, is debut of Hook. No, it's no, I joke. The second biggest thing. No, the biggest thing obviously coming out of 2021 was the return of CM Punk. CM Punk came back to wrestling after 7 long years away. Something that, and we've talked about CM Punk and possibilities of returning, and when he would return and where he would return and what company it would be, and we talked about it on numerous occasions at length.
So much so that last year in our predictions, I was going to predict that CM Punk would wrestle in 2021, and you were having none of it. You said you do this every year; it's not happening. You're not allowed to put it out.
I mean, but this is it. I've been conditioned. I've been conditioned to you know what I mean, to accept that, because never say never in wrestling, but this was the one thing that seemed the closest to being never happening ever again. And they AEW, because not only would CM Punk come back, he came back and wrestled. And not only did he come back and wrestle, he came back in AEW. He didn't come back to WWE. He came back to AEW. Which was just huge for AEW especially, but wrestling in total. And like I said, it was something that many people, myself included, didn't think would ever happen. And I was convinced, and I 100% believe that I said I was having none of it last year, because it just didn't seem possible, and it just goes to show what can happen in a year. But yeah, Punk returned on October 2nd, 2021. The date will be etched in my memory forever.
No, it was before that. It was
October 2nd, wasn't it? It was the first Rampage, or a second Rampage.
No, All Out was September 5th.
Was it?
Yeah, sure. All In, All Out, they're always at the start of September.
What day am I thinking
of? So it's clearly not a day.
What happened on October 2nd? Something happened on October 2nd then, because that's in my head as well.
Let me check there now. Was that Omega? Was that Winter Is Coming?
No, that would have been December.
Or was that Omega Danielson, the 60?
Maybe.
Hold on. October 2nd, AEW.
It appears nothing happened.
October 2nd was the very first Dynamite in 2019.
Oh, that's why that's in my head then, I guess.
Dynamite debuted on October 2nd, 2019. So that's why it was in your head. No, it was August 26th or something.
I don't know. Anyway, point is.
But I just know from at the end of the promo where he's like, I'll see you and I'll see Sting September 5th at All Out. Live on pay-per-view. That's the end of the line.
Yeah.
But,
so anyway.
Clearly a day that didn't stick out in my head.
I'm not very good with dates, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, no, Punk came back. Look, that's the bottom line. It doesn't matter when. the point is that he did. And
I think it was it's certainly the most important moment in AEW history. To that point.
Yeah, I mean it's huge. Like it's monumental. Do you know what I mean? For them to get him. Do you know what I mean?
And even last night, I watched Dynamite last night, and it's just so surreal. Like he just came out and cut a promo last night. It was like he's just part of the roster now.
Yeah.
But like sometimes you're watching it, you're just catching yourself, and you're like this is CM Punk. You know, like it's still a bit surreal.
Like I think we need to actually sit back and say, like last week on Dynamite, we saw CM Punk and Sting like team up in a wrestling match on television, and like that actually happened in 2021, and like it's mental. And like we've seen, because this thing, like, you know, as we always kind of do, we praise AEW to the highest, you know, for getting CM Punk, and obviously the segment where he debuted on that episode of Rampage in Chicago, and it was, you know, fantastic. But like obviously we've criticized, obviously partially part of his run to this point, because it's been kind of somewhat, you know, substandard. But then, you know, we've gotten glimmers of, you know, Punk that we love and we missed. You know, obviously the brief Eddie Kingston program, the Darby Allin feud as well, and now this MJF feud is, you know, this has been the best one in my opinion. This MJF feud has been proper classic Punk. And
but
yeah,
it's looking like, if I don't know if you watched Dynamite last night,
I saw Punk's promo. And
but it looks like it's going on the back burner now.
Yeah, I saw that they're like, you know, gonna both pursue championship gold, and
I think I think it's just a way of prolonging it until you get Evolution.
Yeah, because I think it'll be on pay-per-view. Like that match will be on pay-per-view, and you know the next one is until February. So I think
I really thought in the 6-man last week, I really thought MJF was going to pin him.
Oh really?
And we'll go from there. But and I thought like it might be like a schmaz finish, and MJF doesn't touch him all match, but then tags in for the pin, tag or something, and whatever. But didn't work out that way. So, you know, we'll just wait and see. Like AEW, you know, as we've seen countless times this year, are the masters of long-term storytelling.
Is it like they're patient? They're patient. You know, they have no problem in waiting, because they know that like the payoff, you know, will be good. Like, you know, So yeah, look, we'll wait and see where that goes. But yeah, like I said, the main point being CM Punk is back in our wrestling lives, and that's insane. But look, like I said, we've talked about CM Punk, you know, at length on many an occasion. So other than CM Punk, do you have any other highlights for the year?
Well, the other standout in terms of years, a year collectively, is the year Roman Reigns had, because this has been the best year of his career, hands down. His work, his promos, his matches, his character development, everything. It's been the one, and I say this tentatively, it has been the one flawless thing WWE have done throughout the year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if
the one thing they haven't balls up like.
Yeah, I think it's hard to call anything flawless. So I'm sure if you went over it with a fine-tooth comb, you'd probably find.
Yeah, but it's the one thing they've gotten right consistently through.
Yeah, it's the one thing that I want. Like Roman Reigns makes me want to tune in to WWE, and like, you know, we'll talk about it kind of later on. You know, but like obviously he's wrestling now on day one, against Brock Lesnar in what I presume will be the main event, and like that is the match that I think I am, and I know you are, and I think a vast majority of people are tuning in to see, because there's such a level of intrigue around it. And you know, that's not entirely down to Roman Reigns. Obviously Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman have both had a hand to play in that, But Roman Reigns has just had such, like you said, monumental year. That,
and I think it's a credit to everyone involved that there's so much intrigue in seeing another Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns match, because this could easily be people saying, "Oh, fucking, how many times have they wrestled? I want to see something else." But people want to see this again.
Is it like
so? It's credit to them.
Yeah, they've changed the dynamic and they've made it interesting. And yeah, because we've seen this match how many times, but we just saw it the same way so many times, and we just got sick of it. We thought we never want to see it again, but we do. And look, Roman Reigns has had a fantastic year. We don't like he's had one of the best title reigns, I would say, in the last 10 years in WWE, if not the best. And I mean, it's hard to see where it ends. Do you know what I mean? This is the great thing about his reign, is like, you can't put an end in sight for it. Like, you could say, "Oh, WrestleMania, whoever wins the Royal Rumble is going to beat him," but like, I can't confidently say that'll happen. I can't confidently say Brock Lesnar will win at day one. I'm not sure on that match. I think it could go. I genuinely think it could go either way. And like, I can't pinpoint anyone on the roster who I can confidently say will beat him. You know what I mean? And that's not a bad thing. I'm not actually, I'm not waiting with bated breath for him to lose. You know what I mean? Like, I'm enjoying his reign because it's brilliant.
I don't want it to end right now. I until there's a worthy challenger or someone that I feel is ready. Yeah. And right now, I don't think there is. I think anyone who beats him now, you're just like, no, okay. But I'm not excited to see anyone beat him at the moment. So
it's like, and like, this is something to kind of segue into kind of another highlight for the year. But like, when we don't have a Hangman Page kind of character that you want to get behind to beat the big bad champion. And on that topic, I think another highlight for 2021 had to be Hangman Page winning the AEW World Championship. Finally getting there, a storyline like we said, AEW are the masters of long-term storytelling. This is something that's been going on for 2 years, since the very first AEW pay-per-view. Oh, not then. Was it the first? No, the second pay-per-view. All Out 2019. Where he lost to Chris Jericho in the main event to determine the first ever AEW World Champion, and he's been on an emotional roller coaster since, as have we all. And he finally did it at Full Gear this year. Beat Kenny Omega to win the AEW World Championship in a great match. And I mean, like, fantastic. You know what I mean?
Like, I think the whole arc of Hangman Page has been a massive highlight. It's probably been the best thing AEW has done, like, since they've been like, long term, since they've been a company. Like, I think it's been incredible. It's been an incredible story. It's wrestling the way wrestling should be written and told, and the type of wrestling fans want to see. So I absolutely agree. That's one of the best highlights of 2021. Despite, and I have been vocal of, I wasn't that big of a fan of Kenny's run. I thought it was a big letdown, and I still do think it was a major letdown. In terms, like, his in-ring stuff was great. I thought some of the character work was just god awful. Something that wasn't on the that you like, something that belongs on in, like, the hardcore division or the 24/7 division, not in your main story. So but it made it all worthwhile then when Hangman ended it. So I was happy with that. I think just going on from that, I think a couple of other, like, staying with AEW, I think someone who's had the best year of their career also is Britt Baker. What a year. Starting with the back end of 2020 or 2020, leading into 2021, she obviously had that match with Thunder Rosa. Was it Lights Out? It was called.
It was on St. Patrick's Day. The Lights Out match.
Yeah, what a match that was. It was the best women's match AEW have put on so far. What a match. And she's by far and away the biggest star they have from a women's perspective. And for her to finally get the belt, some were saying it was a long time coming. And then she hasn't looked back since. So
I mean,
what
like,
a year she's had.
I mean, yeah, it's true. Like she's the cornerstone of that women's division. You know, she was famously the first signing ever made, bar obviously the elite guys, but like she was the first signing they ever made. It was clear from the off that they had big plans for her. And then when it took so long for her to win the title, people were kind of like, you know, what the hell? But like, it's been worth it. Do you know what I mean? Like she's been, even when she wasn't the champion, she was still the biggest star in that division. She was still the biggest talking point. Like that, not even just that match, but the entire feud with Thunder Rosa was fantastic. It was one of the best feuds of the year for AEW. And I mean, like you said, she hasn't looked back since winning the title at Double or Nothing, was it? Did she take it? But yeah. And yeah, like she's similar to Roman Reigns, you know, as in like there's no kind of end in sight for her. I would say, like, you know, that I can't pinpoint one person on that roster who seems like a kind of worthy challenger.
I think the person who beats her isn't signed to the company yet. I
think so too. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of, especially with releases and stuff, there's a lot of good female talent available and on the market soon anyway with their 90 days and stuff coming up. So the likes of Ember Moon and someone like that, I could genuinely see coming and beat her. So I firmly believe whoever is to beat her isn't signed to the roster yet.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree. And like I think as well, like with the kind of the TBS championship, the new championship that they're after bringing in for the women, kind of focus taken away from Britt's title range for the meantime. Yeah. But look, she's still a star, you know, and she's still one of the best. She is the best woman in AEW. She's one of the best, full stop, in AEW. But yeah, definitely a highlight of 2021 was herself. Moving on as well, I think another highlight from 2021, just from WWE, just to keep things even, was Big E winning the WWE Championship. You know, Cashkin's Money in the Bank contract on Bobby Lashley on an episode of Raw to win the championship, something that, you know, people have been wanting for a long time as well. Now, I wouldn't have it that high up on my kind of list of moments for the year, because I personally, I don't think his reign has been that good. Just
going off that, and you mentioned it briefly there, I actually think the bigger moment was Lashley winning the title. Back in March or back in
because that was
something that, you know, felt like a missed opportunity, or felt like for whatever reason didn't work out 10 or 15 years ago, and then it felt like, oh, it'll probably never happen, and then it happened, and then people were thinking, oh, he's just keeping the title warm for Drew, and then he beat Drew, which was a major upset at WrestleMania in the opening match. And like I thought his reign was really, really strong.
This is it. Like Lashley had a fantastic reign. I agree. Like Lashley had a brilliant reign. But yeah, Big E's has disappointed for me. You know, I'm trying to think of like I what to put my finger on in terms of like why, but it could be just timing. That the timing was poor because it was going into Crown Jewel, and then it was going into Survivor Series, and then he had like, do you know what I mean? Like he had no real feud to get his teeth into.
I also think a factor of it was, I think they did it as a last minute decision. You know, it was, they were up against Monday Night Football for the first week. I think it was the first week of the NFL season.
There was something, there was something on,
and they were up against it, and they quickly, and I think what kind of took away from it as well is that they announced it. You know, this was quite clearly a ratings grab, that, oh, I'm going to cash my Money in the Bank, but then he still didn't do it. he announced ahead of time he was going to cash it in, but he didn't do it in the babyface way of, I'm going to cash in, you're going to have a one-on-one match.
Yeah.
To see who the better man is. He still waited. He waited for an opportunity to cash in, but announced. It was weird. It was very strange. It was a cool moment to see him win it. It was cool, but because I think it was a spur of the moment decision. They had no kind of plan afterwards, as is common with WWE, and they had no plan. And then, as you said, Crown Jewel then was like 2 weeks later, so they had to rush a feud getting in there, and then Survivor Series happened, which, the fucking brand supremacy kills everything.
Yeah.
Like it always does every year. And then,
I know he's in a 4-way feud because they couldn't pick one. And
he's probably gonna lose it.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like I think the 4-way match will be really, really good. But he
didn't have that one feud. He didn't have, that one-on-one feud for the belt.
Yeah, there's been no substance to his title. You know what I mean? And like that, I mean, delighted to see him win it because I love Big E as much as the next guy, but like that, like you said, it was rushed. It like no plan afterwards. Just put the belt on him. People will love it for the couple of minutes that is happening, and then after that we'll figure it out. But like they never did, which is typical. But and
it just goes to show to see last. Did you see the last Monday's Raw? You see, it was actually it done a really good rating, and it was a good show. And reports came out today that Vince wasn't at it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the common denominator is there. Let me just but yeah,
Big E was up there for one of the best Raws of the year. And even Meltzer was praising it. Meltzer was praising the how it held its rating and all that, which it usually doesn't. And then it came out Vince wasn't at it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, Big E winning the title was obviously a moment. Keeping on the New Day, Xavier Woods winning King of the Ring as well, I say would have to be a good moment, just for sentimentality, just because he wanted it so much and he kind of wished it into existence. I think Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks at WrestleMania has to be mentioned. One of the matches of the year, a lot of people's match of the year. The second ever women's main event, and in my opinion, the better one. I think it was better than the triple threat, just from an in-ring standpoint. And Bianca Belair, getting her moment, winning the title, in a fantastic match against a fantastic wrestler like Sasha. So that has, and I think the moment that'll stand out in my mind and a lot of people's minds, and I think will be showed in WrestleMania packages for years to come, is the two of them at the start of the match looking at each other with tears in their eyes and kind of knowing not only two women but two African American women in the main event of a WrestleMania. It's really poignant and really hits home, and it's really inspiring. You know what I mean? And not even
it was a cool moment. It was. I watched it live, and I know you did too. And I think it was I think in the moment you were like, this is special. This is something
history.
It's significant. Yeah. So no, pretty cool. Great moment. And off the back of that, I thought the other WrestleMania main event was fantastic as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I keep having to mix in his WWE name and his now name, but Daniel Bryan, Edge, and Roman, and the finish to that where he stacks and bones.
Yeah,
beautiful.
And staying on that, I think you have to mention as well, just All Out as well, with the debuts of Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson. Because they were two obviously massive gets. This is hot off the back of getting CM Punk. Keep in mind, this was 3 weeks after getting CM Punk, and then they get Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson in the same night on the same segment, and Bryan, and I think more, I love Adam Cole, don't get me wrong, but like more so, I think Bryan Danielson has proven to be, a phenomenal signing for them. Like, do you know what I mean? Like he's
and he'll continue to.
Yeah.
Like again, I think this is kind of the last major run of his career.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Like I think this is it now, and I think he wants to prove to everyone that he's not only one of the like biggest stars in wrestling, but he can actually wrestle, and that's what he's best at. So I think he's out there with a point to prove. I think that's why he didn't re-sign with WWE, and I think it was more that it's not that, and he said that it's not that he was not happy in WWE, or it was not that he was not, they weren't good to him. It was that he just wanted to go and prove that, well, everyone says AEW has the best wrestler, so I'm going to go over there and prove that I'm the best wrestler,
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to his 2022. I think this might be the best year of his career. If anything, of the back end of 2021 is to go by. So I'm looking forward to that. I think just staying on WWE and people leaving, I think we'd be remiss to mention the amount of people who were released by the company this year. It was truly something. Like the amount of talent that they just decided to let go. Like key names like Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt, Samoa Joe, and then they brought Samoa Joe back, and now he's in limbo again.
Yeah. Aleister Black,
Andrade, like big names. Was Miro? No, Miro was gone last year. Yeah.
Or was he? I can't remember.
I think he was. Yeah,
it all blurs into one.
But and like even like people like the Iconics and like big names, and people that were on TV, like someone like Aleister Black, they were shooting vignettes for, and he debuted, and then they released him.
Braun Strowman was in a world title match like 2 weeks before he got released. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Bray Wyatt, again, like Bray Wyatt was in a marquee match at WrestleMania, was a multiple-time world champion, and someone who had main evented a lot within the prior year, and just let him go. Nothing to do
crazy.
with him run out. It's mad. And a lot of people we've named there, we still don't know what is next for them. I know Braun Strowman turned up the Ring of Honor show, the final battle.
Kind of bounced around the indies. With EC3 and kind of the Free the Narrative, or what is it, Own Your Narrative or Free the Narrative, whatever their movement thing is.
Bray is another one. We still don't know what the story with him is.
Yeah, last we heard of Bray, he was working on a horror movie.
And the last thing that Meltzer, I think, said is that he's in no rush to return. So I don't know, has WWE just stifled the passion out of him?
Which is, if that's true, is pressing.
A shame.
Yeah. Because like he's one of the best things I've ever seen for creativity and originality in wrestling. And if his passion for that is literally dead now because WWE couldn't figure out how to book him, then that's heinous, is what that is. And look,
and even people like Ruby Riott, who was released and then came to AEW and is doing very well there now. Someone like Buddy Matthews. There's examples of people who have gone on. I think the people that were released in 2020 are the examples to take from for the year that the 2021 that some of them had. Like, there is light at the end of that tunnel for these people who were released. Like someone like Matt Cardona, the year that man has had, it's probably the best year of his career, 2021.
Yeah, he's like low key been one of like the wrestlers of the year. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and someone that flies under the radar too, that was released in 2020 is Gianna Perazo. Again, another incredible year.
Up there for
so
the rest of the year, I'd say.
Yeah, so like there is opportunity there for these people. Bobby Fish was another one who was released, who's now finds himself in AEW.
And the crazy thing as well about Bobby Fish, especially like now that you mentioned him, was like when he got released, a lot of people were like, yeah, he's probably done now. He's probably going to transition to a coaching role somewhere or whatever, because he's like 43 or something like that now. He's in his he's in his 40s, and he's gone to AEW and he's ripping it up every single week, and he's in like, he's in a huge storyline at the moment now as well. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, I think it was that when he was released, I think not many people, because he was released before Adam Cole left, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think
so. When he was released,
no, I don't know. I'm not sure. It's very close. They were very close to each other anyway.
I think he was released after Mania releases, and I think you're right. I think it was close, but I think he was released first. I think people were thinking, oh, well, because like, I'm not saying that Adam Cole is the reason he had the job, because Bobby Fish is a great wrestler, but
actually
the story is there, like, and it's only more prominent now because you have Kyle O'Reilly leaving WWE and in AEW. So now you have the original 3 members of UE now in AEW. So, but like I said,
that's actually mad.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it is. But so like again, you can kind of see, or like, I hope the people who are released in 2021 can use the people who've done so well and who were released in 2020 as a kind of a marker for their 2022. So yeah, in terms of any other things, any other standouts, obviously fans returning was another kind of major thing. We added, I think, it was Money in the Bank was the first one, or there was like a SmackDown.
Well, there was WrestleMania obviously had some fans, and then they went back to no fans. Was it the SmackDown? Was there a SmackDown with fans, and then Money in the Bank?
I think it was the Go Home SmackDown to Money in the Bank was the first with full capacity fans, and then Money in the Bank was the first major show.
And then
of course, obviously with Cena.
Yeah, that was what it says. John Cena were coming back as well after a year and a half away from WWE. Is another huge moment, one of the moments of the year for specifically in WWE, I would say. Maybe the best moment of the year. I don't know. It's up there anyway.
Yeah, especially definitely WWE. One of the best moments of the year. I think if not the best moment of the year. I thought it was incredible.
It's up there. It's gotta be up there.
We will be remiss to not talk about highlights in 2021 and not talk about overalls Brock, because overalls and ponytail Brock.
Yeah. Because that was another thing, another return. Last time we saw Brock Lesnar was WrestleMania 36. We didn't see him for like year and a half, over a year and a half.
It was the same distance between him and Cena, because they both weren't seen on the WrestleMania the exact same night.
True.
There was like a month between them then. But,
true. But Brock returned at SummerSlam, sporting beard and ponytail, and then later added his dungarees into the mix, and then his overalls, and it's baby face, I guess. Can Brock Lesnar ever be baby face? Brock Lesnar's never face or heel, he's just Brock. But I mean, Brock Lesnar is back and he's fantastic. Do you know what I mean? He's the most entertaining he's been in a couple of years.
As I said to you a couple of weeks back, that segment with him and Sami Zayn, where he starts speaking French, is one of the best segments of the year in SmackDown. It's one of the funniest segments I've seen.
Canadian alpha males, like.
He's like, "Je suis ne pas." He's like, I was like, "We don't talk like that."
I think Sammy put up a picture actually of the two of them, like you know, like with their arms around each other backstage, and it was like Canadian alpha males or something like that. Like, and it was like, can you imagine like the scenario backstage where they before that picture? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I'd love if they made them a tag team, just Canadian alpha males.
Canadian alpha males. Yeah, no, definitely. So, yeah, fucking Brock's back and he's better than ever, as Eric Chop would say.
Right, I think that's pretty much it, unless you have anything else in terms of highlights from 2021.
I can't think of anything major off the top of my head, unless I'm missing something extremely obvious. But I think we've covered everything huge.
There's a lot of lowlights. There's a lot of NXT.
Yeah, I'd rather not.
Yeah, combusting, and you had like you had the major stars this time last year from NXT, like Karrion Kross and
gone.
Keith
Lee gone. Adam Cole gone. Kyle O'Reilly gone. Johnny Gargano.
In fairness, no, it wasn't an official prediction by you, but I'll give it to you. You said it was just a spoiler because we're fast forwarding ahead. I think it was the IC Championship. You said you predicted Keith Lee would be IC champion at the end of the year, and you said either that or he won't be with the company. so there you go.
I mean, yeah. Just flip of the coin with these people.
So will we get into what we predicted last year?
I can remember one. I can remember it was my first one, and I remember I said Samoa Joe would join the Bloodline, and
yes, and be accepted as an official Samoan.
Yeah,
that was your first one.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, we might as well go through yours since we started off there.
Yeah.
So these were the ones you had last year. So you said Samoa Joe would join the Bloodline. Didn't happen. Still a cool concept. Still could.
Maybe. I mean, like,
because at the end of that as well, you said, "Watch now, we'll be here next year," and Samoa Joe won't even be with the company. I was like, "Jesus, you were nearly right there."
Yeah. If I if I had to pick someone out to join the Bloodline, I want to see Naomi join the Bloodline. I want to see Naomi. Yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But anyway.
That'd be cool. But hold on. Sorry, I'm after losing it there now. Stupid technology. Right. You said both Roman and Drew would hold their titles to the end of the year.
It was half right.
You were right in one. Yeah.
Drew got to February.
I said this last year, but I didn't think they were going to have both of them hold it.
Yeah.
But
makes sense.
Yeah, like Roman has done well. Drew has fallen off a cliff in terms of stardom.
I think like with Drew, obviously they pushed him to the moon last year in the height of the pandemic, which is obviously a difficult time to get pushed, and they obviously made a big song, and like he had Drew's title reign wasn't the worst. I thought he had a decent title reign. It was kind of killed by just like match after match. Like, he faced Randy Orton like 400 times, and then he faced Lashley like 400 times, and then they made a big song and dance about like if he can't beat Lashley, he can never challenge for the title while Lashley's champion. And then Lashley was champion then for ages, and then he's kind of fallen by the wayside a bit. I think like after this Baron Corbin feud ends, he'll be back in the title picture probably, but.
Baron Corbin, where good pushes go to die, huh? It's so true. Like, how many people have been on a major push and then they get ruined by Baron Corbin? Yeah, it's. The next one we actually both had, so this counts for both of us. We didn't get it right anyway, but it was Hangman Page kicks out of the one-winged angel. I still think it should have happened.
It should have.
Yeah, but look. We live and we learn. Your next one was Kenny Omega will hold 5 world titles simultaneously.
I was off by 2.
You said Impact, AEW, AAA, NWA, and IWGP. This is the 5 you named.
it's cause I saw a really cool picture of like it was Kenny Omega as Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, and he's got
Yeah.
all the belts as the stones. And I was like, that's really
Well,
cool.
see, it would have been cool because even with the 3 titles, they never had him wear them all at once or get the visuals of it. You
Yeah,
always had
and what annoyed me as well was they had him wear the old TNA Heavyweight Championship as well, because Impact did that thing where they brought that back as like a title
and
as
then they
well.
unified it. Yeah.
Unified it, and it was so stupid because they had like this other world championship that was not recognized as a world championship, but then it was, and it was
It was literally just let's get Kenny another belt.
Yeah.
So it looks cool. But yeah. You said as well that AEW would have representatives at both the Best of the Super Juniors and the G1.
They didn't, did they? They don't think they did.
No. I still think that could be a thing for next year. I think just the pandemic still was big because if you remember around the G1 especially, Tokyo started becoming, or Japan started becoming like very, very lockdown-ish again.
Yeah.
So I still think that will happen at some point, but I think you were just hindered by the pandemic.
As were we.
This one, I'll give you a quarter point for it. Is you said
like quarter point.
You said the Bullet Club would invade AEW in some capacity, which you had Kenta attack Moxley in a Bullet Club shirt.
Yeah.
But the way you said it was going to be like a war.
Yeah. I mean, like what I had in my head was Jay White rocks up with the Gorillas of Destiny and Kenta and all the rest, and
Yeah. Next thing was you were very adamant that Kenny was going to have all these world titles because you said it would be Okada and Omega 5 at what's the one after the G1?
Power Struggle.
What's the Power Struggle? Yeah, you said it'd be them. It'd be Okada Omega 5 at Power Struggle, and you said January 4th, which is next week, would be Kenny Omega versus Kota Ibushi in the main
event. Yeah, pretty wrong on that one. I guess.
But it's far better than what they're putting on anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, New Japan, poor New Japan. Anyway.
You said this one. You said John Cena would return for or at SummerSlam.
Whoa!
So
I was like, that was like nearly bang on.
Well, you were bang on because you said he returned for SummerSlam, as in he'll have one of his first match at SummerSlam.
There you go.
So you got that one right. I'll give you that one. I'll give you a full-fledged point for that one. So you have a point and a quarter.
Wait, no, I got a half as well. And I got.
So you have a point and 3/4.
And I got 3 out of 5 for Kenny's one as well. So
you're not getting that one, no, because he already held the other titles at that point.
All right.
You're not getting that point, no. I was generous enough to give you a quarter point for Kenta, so you're not getting that one, no.
Quarter point.
So next one that you said was the brands. They would do away with the brand split, and
probably not.
Yeah, and you said they would amalgamate all the other titles and do away with the 24/7 and the women's tags. Yeah,
that's something that I think is becoming closer and closer to reality, because I think the more people they release, the thinner the rosters are gonna get. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And like the losses are far outweighing the gains here in terms of people coming in and out of the company. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, I don't think that's still totally out of the realms of possibility at all.
No, I genuinely think we'll sit here next year and the women's tag titles will be gone. The cruiserweight title is going.
Yeah, it's gone next week.
Rumors are to be believed. I think that won't be the end of it. I think I can see the NXT women's tags going as well, just based on roster space. I thought that there was a stupid belt to bring in anyway.
Yeah, they were.
And
It was because it was the same. It was the same as the women's tag titles when they brought them in. Like they had like a surplus of women's tag teams at the time, so we're like, oh, let's give them tag titles. And then like in NXT at the time, they had like 4 actual women's tag teams, so they were like, oh, let's give them tag titles. And it just hasn't paid off at all. But yeah, go on.
That's it. They were your predictions.
That was it.
So
Okay.
what you get, a point and 3/4.
Yes,
is what you get for. So, my predictions for 2021 were as follows. I said Booker T will wrestle in some capacity, which didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, you were nearly there. Do you know what I mean? Like, as in, like, it could have, it really felt like. No, well, like, it really felt like they were gonna do it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, I think it was off the back of like 2 days before we did last year's episode. He released a photo of him, and he was absolutely jacked to the gills. And I thought maybe it's the Rumble, maybe it's something, but I was like, he's in incredible shape. Like.
Yeah, because this is it. Because Bad Bunny had just released the song Booker T, and the Rumble was in Houston, was it? Or was it?
Yeah,
no?
Yeah.
Or was it?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah. So there you go.
But I said Raw viewership will drop below 1 million. At some point in 2021. That's a good question. I'm actually not sure. Let me check. Raw viewership 2021. Raw sets new record low for key demo. And then we'll see there now. Viewership and key demo rating down this week. Let me see now. You can talk away there while I figure this out.
I feel like if it did, we would have heard. I feel like that would have been a big news story. I feel like Meltzer would have plastered that all over his Twitter.
No, the lowest they did this year was 1.6 million. So
okay,
I got that wrong.
Yeah, fair enough. Maybe next year. I mean,
yeah. Oh no, the final hour of that, 1.494 million was the lowest rated segment they've done all year. So didn't quite make it, but
maybe next year. Maybe.
My next one was the same as you. Hangman kicks out Roman with Angel.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, did not happen. I did. Brock Lesnar would not wrestle in 2021.
Wrong.
Just slightly. It was almost there. You wrestled once.
Was it once? Yeah. Crown Jewel. Was that it?
Crown Jewel was the only time. Yeah. So yeah. I said Okada. I said Okada would win the G1.
Yeah, got that right.
Yeah, so there's one. There's 1 point. I said Ronda and Undertaker would both wrestle in 2021.
God.
You know what? I think because I think she was around the time there was videos of her training. And I think if she got pregnant, I think if she hadn't gotten pregnant, I think we would have seen her in the ring.
Don't blame her, baby.
No, I'm not blaming the baby. You cost me a point, baby. Whatever the baby's name is, you cost me a damn point.
A really long name.
Taker's Taker. I'm gonna guess Taker's gonna wrestle every year until he croaks.
It happens again, yeah. Until it either happens again or he dies, basically.
Yeah. or it happens both simultaneously.
Yeah.
I said Randy and Fiend would face each other in a Firefly Funhouse match at WrestleMania.
You got a half point because they did face each other at WrestleMania.
Yeah, but in fairness, now like this was off the heels of
Yeah,
Randy just setting them on fire. Like they were obviously wrestling each other at WrestleMania, but yeah, I wish it was a Firefly Funhouse. It would be much better than the shit they produced.
yeah. Considering it was a year off the back, a year later from the Firefly Funhouse match, like one of the kind of most creative matches I've ever seen. Matches,
Yeah,
like,
and I had the concept of that Cena would still be in the Firefly Funhouse universe, and Randy would bump into him, and they'd be standing face to face to each other in the ring. And as they're standing face to face with each other, the ring aprons and the ring dressing will all change to each kind of pay-per-view and event that Cena and Randy Orton have wrestled each other. So
yeah,
you'd see like the flicker of like, Backlash 2007 or whenever the fuck they wrestled each other, and it just keep
yeah.
going up till now. And then Brady sitting outside being like, "Are we seeing this again?" or something like that. Which would have been funny, but unfortunately, that's the Firefly Funhouse is no more.
No.
I said WrestleMania would be at half capacity.
That was right.
So I got that right. Happy with that one. I said Edge would win a world title. I was close.
Close, but also Garrett.
And I genuinely thought once he won the Rumble, I still believe that was the idea as to where it was heading, and then kind of fans or public perception around Roman and his reign kind of changed, and he just ended up he stayed with it. I said Dynamite would move to Mondays. It didn't. And you enjoyed this one. I said
move channels.
Yeah. You'll enjoy this one. I said we'll get Don Callis and Kenny Omega versus Cody Rhodes and Tony Khan at some point. So I was like, Tony, he's just dying to get in the ring, like he's just dying to wrestle.
Yeah. So thank God that didn't happen, because I might have just single-handedly killed Dynamite. But anyway.
Yeah, so there are my predictions. So I think it was 2 to 1 3/4. I picked by a quarter of
by a quarter point. And I could contest that. There's definitely something I predicted there that like I could argue a half point over. There's that, like, I could have definitely gotten 2 or 3/5.
You can send your appeals to my letterbox or something, or read over at some point. So yeah, just before we get into our predictions for 2022, I want to just we'll just go through maybe 4 or 5 kind of questions, opinion pieces around 2021. So we close out the kind of review of 2021. So Billy, your match of the year for 2021.
My match of the year. It was hard actually to pick a match of the year, because when there
was a lot of good matches.
Yeah, when I sat down and thought about it, there was a lot, and I feel so cheap doing this because it was WWE's match of the year as well. I went for Edge and Rollins in the Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, 2 seconds there.
Mistakes are in the fridge. Bite the eggs, atop the
eggs. Go on.
Cool. Steak and eggs, but. I went for Edge and Rollins in the Hell in a Cell at Crown Jewel as my match of the year because it was a great match. I feel bad as well because it was at Crown Jewel. I didn't want to include it, but like I went for it because it was the best Hell in a Cell match as well that I've seen in a long time, because it was a Hell in a Cell match designed for the feud, or like the feud was designed for a Hell in a Cell match rather than Hell in a Cell designed for the feud. Like it wasn't just put on for the sake of it. Like that, I could have said it. There were so many options I could have put here, like the triple threat of Mania, Bianca and Sasha at Mania, Hangman and Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, Kenny and Bryan Danielson. There was lots of, like, Kenny and Hangman. There was lots of options. Lucha Bros and Young Bucks in the Steel Cage was up there as well. But yeah, I felt like I enjoyed Edge and Rollins the most because it's been so long since we've seen a good Hell in a Cell, and they used to be one of the best gimmicks. So yeah, that's what I went for.
Cool. I went with the triple threat at WrestleMania. Roman,
fair. Yeah.
Edge, and Daniel Bryan. I thought that was an incredible match. I think it was just, crowds were back, things were good. I thought, like, in terms of an in-ring standpoint, I thought it was a great match. I thought they did a promo segment on SmackDown, like where they each came out and cut a promo on the Go Home SmackDown before WrestleMania, and I thought those were incredible. The spot where they're both have Roman in the crossface and they're headbutting each other is class. And then you had the finish, which I thought was so inventive and so creative and put Roman over so well. So yeah, I go. But again, as you said, I thought Rollins and Edge was a great match. I feel so weird, and it is so strange that we spent the majority of this show like praising AEW, giving out about WWE's year, and we end up giving match of the year to both
or
WWE matches.
It's weird because sorry to interrupt, but like I watched Adam Blampied did his top 10 matches of the year, and he said it in his worst. He said his 10 worst matches of the year, and he said WWE somehow managed to have a match of the year contender and a worst match of the year contender on every pay-per-view this year. And like, it's insane that but because it's true, if you actually go back and check, like every single pay-per-view WWE put out was either excellent, like throughout the show, it was either excellent or terrible. Like there was no good middle ground. Do you know what I mean? Another match.
Yeah, there was no mediocre. It was either very, very good or very, very bad.
Yeah. Walter, Ilya Dragunov 2 as well. Probably should get a mention as well.
Yeah, I thought great match as well. So many, and I can fall or I can be guilty of sometimes, when I'm doing my match of the year, like I can be guilty of, choosing a match that's more recent in memory.
Yeah.
Favoring a match like a Hangman Danielson or even a Danielson Omega or something like that, a match that's in more recent memory. So I originally was going Omega Danielson, and then I kind of sat down and thought about it, and I was like, look, that's a fantastic match as well. It was just the finish was a bit then I thought back to the triple threat, and I was like, you know what, there was no kind of weak point in that match, and that finish was incredible. So yeah, I gave to that ultimately in the end, but it could have gone to so many matches. We're so blessed with such great wrestling this year. Like even the shout out MJF and Darby in the opening of Revolution. That or opening of Full Gear, that could have easily been up there in the conversation. You had the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros in the cage. I thought was a phenomenal match as well. There's so many. There's so many, you can't list them all, which is great. That so many great matches. So
no, I like that. Like, I mean, I can't argue for any really. Like, you could have put anything you named there in that spot. Like, I can't argue with. Like, you know what I mean? And like, there's just so much.
So, quickly, your superstar of the year.
I don't want to say it's controversial, but it's not that blatantly obvious because I feel like I know who yours is, but mine is Daniel Bryan / Bryan Danielson, because going from say like that now, he was in your match of the year at look back at just what we just said, right? We named him in about 3 or 4 match of the year candidates across 2 companies. you know what I mean? Like, and when you take
no, you're right. Like, he's definitely up there. The only reason and the only thing I would go against it is that he was missing a quarter of the year. He
this
missed
is
3 or
it.
4 months.
I feel like this is the thing. I feel like if he had been around for the whole year wrestling, like then undoubtedly he'd be wrestler of the year in my opinion. But like even without that few months that he was gone, like he's more than made up for it in my opinion. Like he wrestled for half an hour against Kenny. He wrestled an hour against Hangman. He's wrestled every single week since he debuted in AEW, bar like 1 or 2. And just the fact that he's done it in 2 companies, the fact that he was in the main event of WrestleMania, and then he went and now he's in the world title. He's the #1 contender for the world title in AEW in the space of a year, and not even in the space of a calendar year, in the space of a couple of months, is insane to me. Bryan Danielson / Bryan.
I think you know who mine's going to be. Mine's Roman.
Yeah,
you know, I don't even need to elaborate on that. You know, it kind of speaks for itself when we've spoken enough about Roman and the year he's had. So mine's Roman. So best segment of the year. I think we might have the same one here.
Yeah, because the thing is, I nearly didn't do this. I nearly didn't pick this one. And then last minute I remembered it. I went, oh, fuck yeah, of course. Punk's return is segment of the year. I can't remember what I had originally. I don't even remember what I had originally. But then, like, last minute I remembered Punk's return. And I went, duh.
Yeah. It's probably one of the best wrestling segments of all time.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
The pop, the moment, the promo. Like they popped for him sitting down, for God's sake.
Yeah. You know.
Did you see his promo last night? Did you see the line at the end
where he was like, "Someone will interrupt his chase for gold or something. Someone interrupt MJF's chase for gold, or like on this microphone."
No, he brought back a nostalgic line where he said, "I'm out here now to prove." No, he said, "I'm out here now to prove that I'm the best on this microphone, in that ring, even commentary."
Yeah. Got that. Which is kind of funny because he obviously at the start of the promo, he was like welcoming back Jim Ross, which is, you know.
He was like, "You're the greatest."
You're the greatest of all. And then like, no one can touch me.
This would be an interesting one because there was definitely a few candidates for this. We're talking about a few candidates for match of the year. Worst segment of the year. I had a tough time picking one.
So I had a tough time picking this as well, but for the wrong reasons probably, because I couldn't think of any. Like, I know there was. I'm not saying that there was no bad segment, but like there was, and I had to kind of go back and look at some, and sadly, and kind of decide. But I think it was just I just blocked them out. I just decided not to remember these bad segments. But the one I went for, it's just the worst. The zombies at WrestleMania Backlash. They had the Miz literally get eaten, and like, do you know what I mean? Like, and the sad thing was he blew out his knee in that match, and then he had to get eaten by zombies, like legit. Then he had to get eaten by zombies, and I know it wasn't technically a segment because it was a match originally, but like the whole thing was a promo for bad zombie movie that had Batista in it. So like I think the zombies, come on, like it was zombies. And
I definitely considered it. The reason I didn't go for it because ultimately I just said it's a match, it's not a thing, and I don't like doing worst match because it implies that the people in the match were bad, and I don't mind doing worst segment because, you know, it's people who booked it, not the people who are in it, most of the time. So that's why I didn't do that. I went back. I thought of Vince's egg to talk about recent ones. That almost got the nod, but for me, I think mainly because I watched it live. No, I did watch the zombie one live too, but I just watched this one live, and you were with me when we were watching it, and we were like, "This is painful." Was the Super Soaker segment at SummerSlam?
God, I forgot.
where I just felt bad for everyone involved. It was just terrible, and it took the crowd out of the main event, because it was like it took the crowd about 15 minutes to get back into the main event, because that was such a bad thing. It sucked the life out of everyone, and it went on for 25 minutes or whatever. It was terrible, and it was already a long show. And there was was there one match in the card that went really short and I was looking forward to it. And I was like, why do you not give this fucking time? And I'm here watching Xavier Woods fucking play fucking Wet and Wild like a child. But to me that was the worst segment. But there has been a lot.
Yeah, I mean there
has been a lot.
I think,
in fairness, Brandy Rhodes almost pipped everyone to the post last night. Yeah. With that promo. Jesus Christ.
It's mad.
Did you see Bully Ray tweeted going, "This segment is money," and everyone replied going, "Are you fucking high?"
Joe, it's crazy though. It's actually mental how like divided wrestling Twitter is about like Cody and Brandy Rhodes, and especially Brandy Rhodes, because like the same thing happened when she cut that promo on Jade Cargill. Like half the internet was like, Jesus Christ, that was bad. And then the other half were like, yeah, like she's really good at promos, and do you know what I mean? This is the edgy, cool Brandy that you want to see. And like it was the same last night. Like I saw so many tweets being like, oh, that was brilliant, segment of the year, promo of the year, and I was like, wait, did you watch what are you watching? Are you watching the same one? Or like it's actually crazy how divided people are about it.
Because we give out about, or we named our worst segments of the year there, and WWE got the brunt of it. But I want to shout out two awful segments in AEW this year that involve Cody Rhodes both. So the first one is when he solved racism.
Of course.
In his
How was that a bad segment?
That was a bad segment. It was just that there was I just take that out of context. And they solve racism. Just no unnecessary, no need. And the weigh-in with Anthony Ogogo when the scales wouldn't work was just It was actually the same. It was two segments for the same feud, which is hilarious. They were like two simultaneous weeks.
It was so bad that it killed Anthony Gogo off, and he flew home to his home planet, and he's never to be seen again. And like,
did you see the clip of it's from Rhodes to the Top when that segment is going on? Did you see the clip of Tony Khan freaking out backstage? He's like, go out there and tell them they're done. They're done. It's like, tell them, get out, go home. We're not doing this anymore. He was just so done with Cody's shit. Like,
yeah, like, because the thing is, like, we've always like made fun of Tony Khan and stuff for being like, Joe, the bloody nerd who like had enough money to start his own wrestling company and like whatever, like, but like, the more time goes on, the more it seems like he's actually the voice of reason in that company, and it's Cody who wants to run it into the ground, and Tony Khan has to be like, no, you can't.
Yeah, with his fucking golden shovel.
Yeah. I'm not a heel.
Come here, I'm
a winner.
That video he released. If he's not a heel,
that was Joe though. I like that. I enjoyed that, but I'm also like, I don't want it to be tongue in cheek. I want that to be like, him becoming a heel. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want that to be like him taking the piss. Do you know what I mean? It was a great, like, if it's him turning heel, then it's a great video. But if it's him mocking the fans for booing him, then boo, then more boos.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
But he like I saw a guy tweet yesterday. It was like every week I see people say, once Cody fully turns heel, this will all be justified. And he tweeted, I can't take this anymore. It's not worth the heel turn anymore.
But this is the thing.
This is awful.
It's getting to the point where it's like, beyond the heel turn. Do you know what I mean? Like it's getting to the point where like it's non-salvageable. Do you know what I mean? Like they're really treading the line here. Like, do you know what I mean? They're really, testing the waters. But yeah.
Okay. Our last one, breakout star of the year.
I feel like mine might surprise you.
I feel mine will surprise you also. We might have the same one.
Maybe we do. But like it's not because looking back, like right now, if I were to say to you, like if I was like breakout star, you'd probably disagree because they don't feel like a breakout star anymore because they feel like a main eventer. But looking back, it's only happened this year, and mine's Bianca Belair. Because like she won the Rumble, she main evented WrestleMania, won the title, and held the title for 6 months. Like that all happened this year. Do you know what I mean? Like last year, she came up to the main roster and was, she was in a high profile feud with Bayley, and but kind of all her success came in the last couple of months. So, in the last 365 days. So, yeah, Bianca Belair for me, because I think from winning the Rumble to WrestleMania to the title reign, I know the Becky thing, the SummerSlam, talk about bad segments, but anyway, like that nearly killed it. But like I think WWE, in fairness to him, made a main event superstar in Bianca Belair, which like wasn't hard. She had all the tools, but like, yeah, I think Bianca Belair for me, just because of the success she had, she just had the most success. So yeah, Bianca Belair.
I would agree with that, and you're right. I didn't even think of Bianca Belair, to be honest, because you forget the year that she's had, but she's definitely deserving of that.
It's because a lot of it happened at the start of the year, and then obviously the Becky thing just killed it in the water. But like, it's
No, that's cool. I have mine. Just looks completely inferior to yours now, because I completely forgot about Bianca Belair. I have Dante Martin as a breakout star of the year, just considering that no one knew who he was this time last year.
Very little anyway.
And how impressive he's been, and I think he's in for a big 2022.
Yeah, I agree. Like a lot of people who compared him, was it Omega? I think Kenny might have said that he was like Osprey, or like he was like a young Osprey or a young Ricochet. That like he is like the next big high flying superstar, and like he is. I mean, he's insane when you watch what he can do in the ring. It's mental. He might have the highest vertical leap I've ever seen in a wrestler, but
the only one I think that can compete with him in terms of vertical leap today is Montez Ford. I think I'd love to see a jump off between the two of them, like a dunking contest.
Dunk contest. But yeah, no, Dante's a good show. In terms of like, because like Dante feels like this is it. Like this is why you wouldn't think of Bianca, because Bianca feels established now. Do you know what I mean? She doesn't feel like Dante still feels like he's breaking out. But yeah, I agree. I think 2022 will be 2022 will be a big year for Dante. Absolutely. It'll be interesting when his brother comes back, because his brother is currently out with injury. Darius Martin, as obviously the two of them make up Top Flight, and it'd be interesting now to see when he comes back. How this fits in with Leo Rush and all this stuff. But yeah, that's cool. Some agreements and some disagreements there, but all fair points.
Cool. So we move on to our predictions for 2022.
Yeah.
I have to preference this by saying we spoke last night about how many we were doing. At the time, I had 9. Now I have 16.
I have 10. I added one.
I did some thinking last night when I was in bed. So
that's not fair.
Hold on, let me see if I can get rid of some of these.
No, keep them. Keep them.
Okay.
Keep them.
We'll keep this in mind next year. We'll deduct me 6 points to start and go from there.
Will we will we go one by one, or will we just bang them all out, or what way do you want to do this?
Well, we'll go one for one as we do each year.
Yeah, and then when I run out, then you can rattle them off.
Rattle them off. Yeah.
You want to go first, or will I go first?
You can go first.
Okay, I'm starting things off on a bleak note.
Okay.
Well,
okay, listen. Okay, I just want to say this: there's no deaths now.
No. God, no, there's no deaths. There's no deaths, thank God. But my first one is NXT gets cancelled on USA.
Interesting. That is interesting.
Now, when I say that, I don't necessarily mean that NXT gets cancelled outright and NXT's just done. I just think I think it's USA pull the plug on it and they have to find a new channel.
Do you think it'll just move back to being a network?
I think,
or will they move it just onto Peacock?
I think that's a possibility. Yeah, I think I can't see the interest keeping up with NXT, because if you think about it, the reason they got a TV deal was A, to compete with AEW, and B, was because like NXT was one of the hottest wrestling things in the world at the time. And now they've kind of reverted back to their roots. Now they're a developmental company. Like, they didn't have a TV deal when they were a developmental company because the intrigue wasn't there.
This isn't the same NXT that USA paid the money for.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know how WWE are gonna pitch this, being like, oh, you're gonna get these views because people are gonna want to watch, Grayson Waller and Solo Sikoa and you know what I mean, all these up and comers. No disrespect to them, but just they don't carry the name value to warrant a TV deal, in my opinion. So I think it gets cancelled / cut / whatever. I think NXT will continue, but
I think we're starting to see some of that. I think we're starting to see some of, maybe, I don't know if it's question marks from USA or it's WWE thinking, okay, we'll have to renew our deal, so we're gonna have to come in with things. But that's why we're seeing AJ Styles now on NXT come down, and I think we'll start to see more people.
And Riddle.
I believe I imagine Kevin Owens, there's something in his new contract to say that he gets to wrestle in NXT and stuff like that.
Because again, like if you cast your mind back to NXT in its early days, like you had the likes of Cesaro and you had Seth Rollins after he debuted on the main roster and stuff like this. You had guys going down wrestling occasionally just to get name value on the product.
And if you go back as far as OVW and all these places, they used to do that. They used to have big shows, and you'd have you like Kane would go down and wrestle, or Undertaker would go down and wrestle. Like I think Kane went down and wrestled Leviathan, which was Batista. And you had these kind of big names come down, and I think that's what NXT is going to be now. Which is the right thing to do if you want these people to learn. Who better in the world are you going to learn from than AJ Styles? I could see it. Wait and see what happens. My first one is that AEW will win the race for the Ring of Honor tape library, and from there will open up their own streaming service. So
you'd say an AEW streaming service is coming in 2022,
with the Ring of Honor tape library being a main feature.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's inevitable. I think that the streaming service is inevitable. It's just a question of how much content do they need before they can make it available and stuff. Like I definitely think it's possible. It's definitely possible. It's probably already under discussion. I would say as well, AEW probably have the more poignant Ring of Honor stars right now to make that argument as well.
Yeah, because I think if this was a conversation even 2 years ago, I think it would have been absolutely Vince to buy it and put it on the network and do this, because the conversation was, look at all the stars that Vince has that were in Ring of Honor. But now a lot of those stars are now on AEW.
Yeah.
And I think it's the thing that WWE are cutting budgets so much and all that. Like, I don't think they have any interest in purchasing assets for a network that's now not theirs. It's all to the Peacock network. So why are they fucking, you know?
Yeah. I think as well,
because
what's interesting, what kind of leads towards what you're saying is, like, obviously when Ring of Honor had Final Battle and it was viewed as kind of, in a lot of people's minds, the last Ring of Honor show, you saw a lot of AEW stars, former Ring of Honor stars, the likes of Bryan Danielson, the Young Bucks, Adam Cole, sending in videos and stuff, whatever. Apparently the guys in WWE, the likes of Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, who could have sent in videos, were told no, or they were told you're not to. So, you know, if based off that, you definitely think that the relationship is better between Ring of Honor and AEW.
I don't get that. I just don't get why aren't they allowed to send in videos? You know, what damage is it going to do to your company? Like, Ring of Honor aren't going to compete with WWE. They're going out of goddamn business right now. You're saying, oh, no, that's their property. You can't be going on their shit. Like, makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, no, that definitely makes, I think that's definitely possible. Yeah. Yeah. My second one, it might actually join well with your one, is AEW launch a 5th pay-per-view.
Okay.
I'm primarily predicting that to benefit us, because if rumors are to be believed, they want to run a show in the UK next year, and I think if it goes well, see, they might make it a pay-per-view next year, but if it goes well, they might make it a pay-per-view from there on out. Do you know what I mean? Like, they might make it like their big kind of across the border thing. And I think as well, if they come up with a streaming service like that, you know, more, you know what comes with a streaming service, and that's more content. And with that, like, they're gonna have a 5th pay. Like, I love. Like, I've said before that, like, I was iffy about the 4th pay-per-view or 4 pay-per-view model, because I've just been conditioned with the WWE to have non-stop pay-per-views. But I think one more can't hurt, surely not. Like, do you know what I mean? Just to
no. Especially if it's something as unique as an overseas pay-per-view, because, you know, it's something different. You know, it's not just the same pay-per-views each time. There'll be a different crowd, different vibe, like. It's one of my predictions here as well, that AEW are going to run Craven Cottage at some point in 2022. I think that's no secret that, you know, that's a big desire of Tony Khan, who obviously owns Fulham FC, whose stadium is Craven Cottage, in London. I think it's only a matter of time before we get that, whether it's a new pay-per-view or whether it's an existing pay-per-view moved on to an overseas venue. It remains to be seen. What's interesting is, before the pandemic began, the original idea was that Fight for the Fallen of that year, Fight for the Fallen 2020,
it's going to be overseas.
It was going to be overseas. So I don't know if they just do that, or else, as you said, do they get a new pay-per-view, a brand new pay-per-view, and name it? Or do they do like a special Dynamite edition, you know, a special Wednesday Dynamite, kind of, you know, like they do in the past, you know, kind of a like AEW Dynamite London Calling or something like that, you know?
Writes down
name. What?
Writes down name.
Yeah. But, so yeah, that was one of my predictions as well, that AEW runs Craven Cottage.
Cool. Do you want to go for another one there, just because I picked your one, or do you want me to go again?
You there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'll go. the WWE Network will launch on Peacock in the UK
No.
to absolute shit show of fan backlash, judging by the amount of backlash it's gotten in the US and how bad it actually runs. Yeah, and I'm not looking forward to it.
I was close to putting a prediction in that they come off Peacock from sheer backlash, but I'm pretty sure it's worth like $1 billion or something like that. The deal, so
yeah, it's $1 billion deal.
Yeah,
like,
so
you know,
they're not gonna back out of it just because we're crying about it. But like, so
they don't care about us.
They don't care. They've got $1 billion. Yeah. So that feels like something that's gonna happen, all right, as well. You know, and that feels kind of inevitable. I don't want to have Peacock.
Yeah.
No. Anyway,
go on. You next.
Mine's probably just as bleak. It's WWE release more wrestlers than they did in 2021.
Oof.
I feel like every year they're trying to top themselves, and I feel like the budget cuts are going to get worse and worse. And I feel like last year, as in this year, 2021, they released over 100. I think they released, or was it close to 100? They released like 96 or something like that. I think they'll.
Do they have another 100 wrestlers to release?
Probably. Like they have. Like, thing is, if you look at the people that they've released, like a lot of them would have been developmental talent who never even appeared on NXT. So they probably have the names in developmental to just cut. You know what I mean? Like, for example, Omos. Omos is gone by the end of 2022. I'm like
That's why you just took the start calling people out. You're gone and you're gone.
No, but like, I'm following a formula here. Like, it's not against him, and like, it's not an official prediction by me. It's kind of like a half prediction, because I was thinking about this the other day. Because obviously AJ Styles and Omos are now in a feud, right? It's the same thing over and over, because like, you can divide WWE big men into two categories. You can have the athletic big men who can actually work a match, a la Braun Strowman, Big Show, Mark Henry, Kane. And then you have your big men who can't do nothing. And that's Great Khali, Giant Gonzalez, bloody Viscera, and Omos. Do you know what I mean? Like, Omos can't work for shit. And he's grand now. He's grand now because he's ginormous, but like, the novelty will wear off, and it will wear off quickly. And I'm telling you now, after a while, when you realize how bad he really is in the ring, like, it's grand when you have AJ Styles next year covering you up, but like, when you realize when he's on his own and he has to wrestle matches and he gets put to, and I guarantee you he'll be in a world title match, but like, when he's in there and it's the worst received match of the year, he will be gone. And like, I'm telling you now,
let the record show that Vince McMahon sent Keith Lee back to the developmental because he didn't know how to work like a big man in Vince's mind.
Yeah,
and he has Omos on television every week.
Yeah, and like I'm just saying, right? You know, you say that, do they have another 100 wrestlers? They will find 100 wrestlers. I'm telling you now.
They'll hire them and fire them.
Like, they will. But this is the thing: we've had wrestlers hired this year who have also been fired. Do you know what I mean?
Davey Boy Smith was hired and didn't make television. Was fired again.
Yeah, exactly. So there's wrestlers.
Eva Marie was another one. Did she come in 2021 or was it 2020?
Yeah, no, she was 21. But like this is the thing, right? There's wrestlers who haven't even been offered a contract yet, who are gonna get released from WWE in the same year. In the same year. And I don't want to laugh and I don't want to make jokes, but it's true. This is the way this company operates.
There's people who were released last year who are going to get released again this year.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing. That they will. Well,
that happened to Sabatelli.
Yeah,
he was released in 2020 and released in 2021. You
know what I mean? So, like, yeah. So I think WWE are gonna they're gonna look to outdo themselves again next year in 2022, and they're gonna release more wrestlers than 2021. Now, the only thing that might counteract that is you would hope that, like, like there'll be more house shows, there'll be more touring, there'll be more, higher capacity shows. So you kind of hope that income would be up, so they might need to, but did they really need to in the beginning?
Like, yeah, like they had a record numbers of profit this
Exactly.
year.
No, this is my point. Like, do you know what I mean? It doesn't seem to
I
matter.
I think they could do $1 billion gate in the morning and it's still release people.
It'll still
like,
fire
I'm serious.
Yeah.
But and it's not even down to them releasing either. Like we saw with Tony Storm yesterday, she requested her release and was granted it. There's going to be a lot of that as well, because morale, I imagine, is at a very all-time low.
Well, like I would also imagine that AEW are about to have a really good year. Like, I mean, like they don't seem to be showing any signs of slowing, and like I think like a lot of people are going to look at it like the grass is greener, and they're gonna, do you know what I mean? Like people are gonna want to leave. So yeah, I mean, look, we'll wait and see what happens. The developmental NXT will have to be fucking flooded with talent to make room for people, but like
what we see there was developmental on NXT 2.0 will suddenly become the WrestleMania card.
Yeah,
like Braun Breaker will be headlining Mania because they have no one else.
No, it's like, I mean, it's not. I don't think it's that far off the truth, but yeah, that's my next one. Sad as it might be, but it's true.
My next one kind of ties in with your one, and it's the fact, and it's that WWE 2K22 will never come out. It will just be cancelled.
Like
it'll just be cancelled.
I pity the developers on that game so much. Like
it's a joke. Like it's.
Can you imagine?
They have to put a clause into their. There has to be a clause within the next game, or if they negotiate a new contract with them or whatever, that we have to agree on a date, and if you release wrestlers after that date, then they're remaining in the game. Like there has to be a higher deadline in terms of finalizing our roster, and if you release guys after that, then fair enough, but they're staying in the game, you have to pay them. Like that should be the rule.
That's on you, like
Yeah, because like even yesterday, when Tony Storm's she was obviously in the game. She probably has to go.
Like Jeff Hardy, he definitely was in the game, and he's gone. Like he got fired 2 weeks ago or whatever it was.
And like he not only was he in the game, he was probably like there's probably a career mode where like he was probably like a pivotal part of the career mode. Maybe he was in the storylines or something.
Maybe, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like. I'm waiting for Rey Mysterio to be released, and he's the cover athlete. He's the cover of the game.
That could be the only thing like saving him, to be honest. But like,
but see, the thing is, well, there's they're doing the Rey Mysterio showcase, and like, there's definitely matches that he's had that were on like. That were in this showcase against people that are now gone from the company and now released, that he can't have. But that's my prediction that 2K22.
Yeah, that's a good one, like, because I genuinely don't think it will. I'm fully agreeing that like that won't come out. That like it should have been out by now. Do you know what I mean? Like it should have been out by now. Again, like I said, I pity those people so much, because every day it's something new. Every day it's someone comes in and goes, yeah, they're not here anymore. You have to redesign the whole thing. Fuck's sake. My next one, it's kind of going into 2023 a bit, but I think it'll be announced next year, and it's The Rock is announced for the Hall of Fame class of 2023.
Okay.
I think he'll be announced as the headliner for WrestleMania 39, in terms of the Hall of Fame, because obviously we know WrestleMania 39 is in Los Angeles. It's Hollywood. WrestleMania was Hollywood, and I was in a toss up between The Rock or John Cena, and I think I'm gonna go The Rock, because I feel like he should have been in the Hall of Fame by now anyway. And I feel like we will get Roman versus Rock at that Mania. Whether it's for the title or not, I don't know. But because obviously it's a long time. That's a long time away now as well for Roman to be champion as well. Keep in mind.
Yeah.
But I think that match happens at Mania one way or another, and I think part of that will be The Rock headlining the Hall of Fame. Yeah, that's the prediction.
Fair enough. My next one is that Sting will hold a title in some capacity in 2022.
I don't have that exactly, but I have like something. I have a prediction later about a certain person holding a title. But like it's funny because you went for Sting, and I went for someone like who's like in their prime, I guess. But like,
all right.
But yeah, no, I mean, I can see that. I can see Sting and Darby winning the tag titles, or
I could see something like Sting, them allowing Sting to go to the NWA for a pay-per-view wrestling for the NWA World Title, not winning it, but just to have Sting in 2022 wrestle for the NWA World Title would be cool.
Be mad. Sting versus Trevor Murdoch. Print the money. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think if he's going to win anything, it'll be the tag titles in AEW with Darby. I think that'll be the extent of it. I think if can't see him winning like the TNT title, or he's definitely not winning the world title. If he wins the world title, I'll be gobsmacked. But like the tag title, I'll go as far as the tag titles, but I'm not going any further than that. I think that's the extent of Sting's championship capabilities in AEW. And at that as well, I think it'll be like a transitional title reign. Do you know what I mean? I think he'll hold it for like a couple of weeks and then he'll drop it then to whoever the next team is. But yeah, I mean, it'd be cool. It'd be cool to see. My next one, it's not the one I was talking about, but it's similar to your one as well. Is my one is MJF wins the AEW title. Now, when we talk about our champions for later, we predict our champions for the end of the year. I don't have MJF as my AEW champion for the end of the year. But I think he does win it. I think he will get it at some point. Maybe at Double or Nothing. If Hangman's still champion. This is the other thing. I don't know if Hangman's still going to be champion by then.
Yeah.
But if he is, I think they'll do MJF, and I think after the Punk feud, I think MJF's going to win.
Well, disclaimer: I don't think Hangman's going to be champion this time next week.
You think Danielson's beating him? Yeah,
I think Danielson's beating him. I think Danielson now has had enough shots without winning it that he has to win it now.
Yeah, or else he loses. Do you know what I mean? And like, I
don't
know. It's interesting, like, because this thing, it could. It's another one. We have a lot of title matches coming up where they could go either way. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And that's one of them. That's definitely one of them. I'll be interested to see what they do because I almost don't want them to do like a 60-minute match again or like a really long match again. I'd like it if it was like 15 minutes, hard hitting, fast paced, like race to the finish, and like they're trying to put each other away as quickly as they can because they know they couldn't do it in 60 minutes. Similar to if you remember the Okada Omega match.
Yeah.
Oh, similar to that. I'd like to see something like that. But yeah, I mean, he could win it. He definitely could. But yeah, no, I think MJF takes the title in 2022 at some point. I can just hear the promos already because he's saying that like he's the guy who's going to start a bidding war in 2024, and like he's going to be saying stuff like I'm going to hold this title until then, and this will be my bargaining chip and all this kind of stuff.
Like they could genuinely do something like Punk in 2011, like with him. I could genuinely see something like that.
Yeah, now
because he's the type of guy you do it with, but from a heel perspective.
Yeah, and I
did like what Punk did in Ring of Honor when he left.
Yeah,
but I don't think MJF will actually leave, but I think they could do something like that.
Yeah, definitely. No, 100%. But like that again, I don't think he wins. I don't think he'll be the champion by the end of the year, but he'll definitely be champion at some point. Yeah, your next one.
You'll enjoy this. I said WWE Shop will release a line of Brock Lesnar branded overalls. And if they do, I'm certainly going to buy a
pair. Oh God, it's actually amazing they haven't done so already.
That's printing money. That is printing money. The amount of people that would buy those just for the laugh. Can you imagine if they sold those WrestleMania weekends? Imagine the amount of people in the crowd in dungarees and overalls.
And the thing is, WrestleMania is in Texas this year, so you'd fit right in, and like you just blend into the crowd. But yeah, that would be brilliant. If they can bring out like Fiend Christmas jumpers, surely they can bring out Brock Lesnar dungarees. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that'd be brilliant. I'd be buying one pair with you. I don't think I'd ever thought I'd wear overalls in my life, but Brock Lesnar brought out a line of overalls. I'd wear them. Yeah, good shout. My next one, it's kind of a punt, to be honest. I genuinely have no idea if this will happen or not. I'm not confident in it, but I'm also not like I can see it happening as well. It's Jay White signs with WWE. I think there's been talks about his contract with New Japan being up at the moment because he dropped the Never Openweight title to Tomohiro Ishii a couple of weeks back, and he hasn't been seen since. He hasn't been on TV at all. He's not on the Wrestle Kingdom card at all in any capacity, unless he returns. But like, you know, at the moment doesn't seem likely. And there's talk that he doesn't have interest in re-signing with New Japan. And I think he's more suited for WWE than he is AEW. So I think he'll go. Yeah. I think he'll go WWE if it does happen. But then of course, you know, the argument is WWE apparently against hiring like, you know, established talent. They want to hire you kind of rookies and train them up in their image and stuff like this. Like, but I don't know. This is why I was kind of like unsure about it. But yeah, that's the one. KOH WWE, and then probably to get released as well in the same year. But anyway.
My next one is that Bruce Pritchard and Nick Khan will both leave WWE in 2022.
Well, if Nick Khan leaves, then the releases will end.
I think Bruce will leave because I think creative will get so bad that Vince will be forced into making a change. So yeah. I think that's where that comes from. And I think Vince eventually, I think someone coming in and telling Vince how to run his company or how to do his company will only last so long. You know, Vince doesn't like being told what to do or, you know, being given deadlines or whatever. And I think, you know, the bloom will come off the rose, as they say. And I think Vince will send Mr. Khan packing down to his cousin down in Jacksonville, I'd say. Yeah. Go on, your next one.
My next one is the one that I was saying was similar to Sting. But mine's a small bit different. Mine's Eddie Kingston wins a title.
Eddie Kingston
wins a title. Not the world title. I don't think he wins the world title, but I think a TNT title reign, is that out of the question?
Interesting. I could see him and Mox winning the tag titles.
This is the other thing. I was considering that one as well. Him and Mox winning the tag titles. I also wouldn't mind him, like Joe, like if they continue the FTW championship, if they gave that to Kingston. Do you know what I mean? That belt looks like it's designed for him. I know it's like not technically really a championship in AEW, but you know. But yeah, I think he wins one. I think he deserves it. Everyone loves Eddie Kingston. It looks like he's transitioning into a feud with Chris Jericho at the moment, which is quite cool. But But yeah, hopefully he wins the title because he's one of these guys who, like, he never wins titles. He never gets there, and
Yeah.
it'd be great to see him do it. It'd be great to see him do it. So yeah, Eddie Kingston to win a title.
Actually, going off that, and this is another huge possibility, is my next prediction is that AEW will or introduce trios tag team titles.
Yeah, that was one of mine as well.
It just makes too much sense. There's too many trios teams, and they have more trios teams than the new tag teams, I think.
Yeah, it's very close, and that was one of my ones actually as well. But
because there's especially now with Cole O'Reilly, Fish, you know, you have even you could do Kingston and Santana and Ortiz.
Yeah.
Like there's so many possibilities there.
I remember was it last year someone did up like a mock tournament.
Yeah.
For trios tag titles, and this is before like a lot of people got signed and stuff like this, like, do you know what I mean? So they have more teams now, and when they announced like a new when there was rumors starting to rumble that a new title was coming to AEW, and it turned out to be a TBS title, like everyone thought it was going to be trios titles because, like you said, it just makes too much sense. It just they have so many trios teams, and it would be an unbelievable division. Do you know what I mean? Like it would actually be a really good, you know, division to have. But yeah, no, that was one of my ones as well because they need to have that because not a lot of companies have them, and AEW probably have the best facilities now to do it. So yeah, trios titles definitely see in AEW
100%. So do you want to go there again?
Yeah, this one. I mean, when I texted you last night saying that you'll enjoy this one, this is this one.
Okay.
I don't know why this came to my head, but anyway, WWE have some football stars on the Saudi Arabia show in October in conjunction with the World Cup because Vince thinks Qatar and Saudi Arabia are in the same country.
Oh no!
I think we're gonna get like, and it's not even gonna be like notable. We're not talking Messi and Ronaldo here. We're talking like, so the Qatari national team are going to show up at like.
It's going to be like that Taekwondo guy who turned up.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? They're going to get like.
And then Michael Cole all of a sudden knew who he was. Yeah, it'll definitely be like fucking. Man will take off his mask and be like, "Oh my God, it's Chris Wood! It's Chris Wood, Burnley superstar." What? Or who's your man Grant Holt? Remember he was in talks to sign with WWE. He was playing for Norwich City.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone like that. So someone who has nothing got to do with any World Cup, like someone who's never kicked the ball in a World Cup ever.
Yeah.
Like it's Mark McNulty.
Yeah, so I think there will be a Saudi Arabia show coming up into around October, November, and the World Cup will obviously be starting very soon after that. So I think WWE are going to try and capitalize off that with some bloody cheap bloody thing like that. Like, do you know what I mean? They're going to like I said, it's not going to be someone huge, like, but it's going to be you're like Kylian Mbappe is not wasting his time going to Saudi Arabia to fucking, you know, throw kicks with Baron Corbin. But it's going to be someone.
Yeah, I did toy with an idea for a prediction. It didn't make the cut because I had too many. But the idea was around that Jake Paul would fight on a WWE card in Saudi Arabia, that they'll do like a joint promotion type thing.
That could happen. That could genuinely happen.
Yeah. It's fine. Like they're pro wrestling as pro wrestling can get, like, so, you know. I could genuinely see it, but my next one is kind of, and I'm conscious because there's a lot of doom and gloom in our predictions this year, but it's because off the back of what's gone on in the last year, we're just predicting that it'll just be kind of more of the same. So, it's a lot around stuff that will be leaved or people who will be released and stuff. And this kind of goes into that as well, is that NXT UK will be dissolved. And
I mean, yeah,
everyone will be released into the ether.
You forget about NXT UK. This is the thing. Like, this is probably why that's incoming, because like, forget that's a thing, and like, like Ilya Dragunov won the NXT UK Championship off Walter, ending Walter's 600+ day reign in this monumental match, and then you get like, now I can't remember the last time I saw Ilya Dragunov. Do you know what I mean? I know he's been on telly, but like, it's like nothing substantial. And I mean, that would obviously be very sad to see NXT UK go. It's been a controversial brand anyway, but I mean, could happen. Definitely could happen. I'm not, there's no reason why it can't. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, fair enough. This is my last one, because you mentioned the trios titles. That wasn't the last one. This is my last one. It's more of a personal one more than anything. It's Hook goes unbeaten for the year. Doesn't lose a match for the year.
Interesting. So you're saying Hook goes undefeated for the year?
Yeah.
I could see it. I genuinely could, because it's going to be they're going to try and give him like a Taz type reign.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what they're doing. They're copying that model, like, and tweaking it slightly. But I don't like, and keep in mind now, I don't think he's going to wrestle every single week. I think they're going to save him. I think they know that, like, they have a star in their hands, because like, he's getting the reactions he's getting. He's only wrestled 2 matches, and I think they'll save him. I saw some people suggesting that he should wrestle Dante Martin at Revolution, and that'd be brilliant. I hope that happens. But
see, I was thinking, if you're going the Taz route, I think Dante Martin should be a Sabu, where they look like they're going to fight for a long time, and they don't. And then they even do something like put in the no touch clause, like ECW did with him and the Sabu, or you could run back the thing where they finally meet each other in the ring, and they run at each other and the lights go out. And stuff like that. Like, you could have some fun recreating stuff like that, and then eventually lead to the match.
Yeah.
But like, if you were doing the year undefeated thing, I think it's best that, like, even if you leave it till full gear, do him and Dante Martin, like Taz and Sabu.
Yeah, I don't know, because obviously it's hard to have someone booked for a year unbeaten.
But I think, as you said, use them sparingly.
I've thought
keep him on TV, like, keep him with Team Taz. But sure, like, he went the whole year on TV
without wrestling,
not wrestling, so you can do it,
and still got over. But so
and I would say he got more over because people were just intrigued to see him wrestle, and now they see him wrestle and they want to see him again, but you don't want to give him too much, like. So I could definitely see him doing something like that.
Yeah, that's my last one anyway, so you can rattle off your ones.
Your last one. I'll rattle the rest of mine off. So I predict Bron Breakker will win the NXT World title, and his first feud will be with Samoa Joe, and Scott Steiner will help.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Yes, because like, I didn't even think of that. I didn't make that comment.
It makes too much sense. Samoa Joe lost the title without losing it. Bron Breakker is the champion when he comes back, and there's the connection between Scott Steiner and Samoa Joe.
Yeah, because I think Bron Breakker's winning it next week. I think he's beaten.
Yeah, I don't know. This is what I mean. Like, I think I genuinely could see this happening like Mania weekend.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I like that.
Could you imagine the pop when, like, Breaker's down, Brett's down, Samoa Joe's down, and then you hear, like,
the siren.
You see fucking Scott Steiner running down the ring.
So
Oh,
you're saying that Scott Steiner won't come in until the Samoa Joe feud?
Until the match, yeah.
The match. Okay.
I originally thought, because I said it to you, and I know that's what you're saying. I originally said to you that Scott Steiner was going to help Bron Breakker win the NXT title against Tommaso Ciampa. Then I was like, what would be his next feud then, though? And then I was thinking, it makes sense, Samoa Joe. And then the light bulb went off in my head. And it makes too much sense. But
yeah.
And then to put a damper on this, then my next prediction is then Samoa Joe will leave the company again after the feud.
I mean, yeah, probably. I mean, that's kind of inevitable.
My next prediction then is that Bray Wyatt re-signs with WWE. He comes back.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about that one now.
I just think if he was going to sign with AEW, he would have already.
Yeah, but it's just
and there's already been slight rumors that is going to happen. Well, Meltzer said that it's a possibility that he comes back.
It's definitely a possibility. Like, this is the thing of Meltzer as well. Like, you know, he says everything. Like, Joe's like that episode of The Office. Joe, where like the way he's like eating all his like apocalypse rations, and like, you know, he's like the world could end any day, and like Jim is like in 1 month, and he's like, that's a possibility. That's different. That's what Meltzer is. You say anything to him, and he's like, it's a possibility.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, because I feel like if he does resign, then he needs to have, like, either he has some serious clauses in his contract that like will creative control and stuff like that, or he's on a ginormous contract. Because like I'd be shocked if he went back after the mishandling that they gave him, like, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I think it would take a lot. I don't think it's not possible, because it's not, but like it would take a lot.
The one thing I would say in defense of that, though, is if you're Bray Wyatt, you're looking at characters that are similar to the characters that you had and stuff, and their track record of going to AEW, it hasn't been great. Like Matt Hardy.
How much does he want to feud with Cody Rhodes right now?
Yeah. But like Broken Matt Hardy was the first kind of similar type spooky character that went in, and they got rid of that quickly. Aleister Black or Malachi Black or whatever, you know, it's been hit or miss. It's been start and stop. You know, is it a thing of you stick with the devil you do, or the devil you know, or the devil you don't, you know?
I don't know. Like, time will tell. Again, like I said, it's not totally out of the realms of possibility at all. Could happen. But I'd be skeptical. I'd be skeptical with it. Yeah, if it happens, I will be surprised.
Fair enough. My next prediction is one of the four horsewomen will leave WWE and join AEW, whether that's Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, or Bayley. One of them.
It'll be Charlotte. It'll be Charlotte.
You think?
It'll be Charlotte, yeah. It'll be, because like she's the only one of the four thinks that she's bigger than the company, and I think it'll come to a head where like she'll be demanding this, that, and the other thing, and she'll be like looking to, you know, win every single time or whatever, and it'll eventually, like, frustrations will just boil over, and, you know, I don't think like maybe she'll ask for a release, maybe she'll just get straight up fired, but I don't know. But I feel like she's, of all of them, I feel like she's the only one who kind of feels like she, you know, is bigger than the company, like I said, like, and she will, you know, fuck off. Do you know what I mean? Like, she will take her ball and go home.
Yeah.
Because I can't see Sasha doing it. I think Sasha, yeah, I can't see Sasha doing it. Can't see Bayley doing it either. Becky, I think Becky would be my second choice out of the four, but like,
you know what? My first choice was Bayley.
Yeah.
They're not doing much with Bayley. Like, when was last time Bayley was on TV?
She's injured.
Is she though?
Yeah,
Did she not say something there? But did she not say something recently that she was cleared and she's been cleared a while?
Maybe, but like it's similar to like, do you remember when Balor did his shoulder after winning the Universal Championship? It's like, you know.
Yeah, but I could genuinely see them like have a batch of releases and Bailey be one of them. You know what I mean?
I mean, like, yeah. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I'm not saying she's immune, but like, it's. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Then though, would AEW have Charlotte? I mean, they would, but like,
I don't think they will. I think the amount of shit now. I think it's if Charlotte left WWE in the morning, I think if she leaves WWE in the morning, it's going to be a lot like Tessa Blanchard.
But this is what,
the talent isn't worth the dealing with her. Like,
this is the other thing. Like, this is the other thing in my head is like she reminds me so much of Tessa Blanchard, but just on a bigger scale and in terms of talent and scope. So I feel like, but she does have the wrong attitude that's going to attract offers. You know what I mean? Like, obviously she's a huge name, but even that, like Ric Flair, we've seen in the last couple of months, like Ric Flair's name has been tainted. Like, you know what I mean? So it's yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if any of them left. I wouldn't be shocked if any of them ended up in AEW if they were let go, but I would be shocked if any of them were let go because of just how much WWE hypes the Four Horsewomen as the women's division. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, fair enough.
I think AEW will lose their first big star to WWE. I think someone will leave AEW for WWE at some point in 2022.
I was contemplating this as well, but I was contemplating a defection. But I was like, again, it kind of contradicts the whole model that we have now at the moment of not signing established people. But I suppose it depends on who it is. Who would you have going?
The clear one is Brian Cage. But would he be able to pass a steroid test in WWE is the question. It is though, that is the question. If not, I don't know. I could see it doesn't even have to be like a big star. I just think
I can see
someone like Big Swole who's already left AEW. I could see end up in WWE.
I can see FTR going back.
Yeah, definitely. I could definitely see FTR going back.
Yeah, apparently their contracts are up soon as well. So
yeah, and I don't think they're going to re-sign either.
Yeah. I saw a rumor that they wanted to go to Japan and work Japan for a bit, but I think ultimately the money and the sense would be in WWE. Like, yeah, I mean, like, it will happen. Do you know what I mean? Like, there will be a person go the other way.
There will. Yeah, there has to be. Like.
Yeah, there'll be a few. There'll be a few people. Well, yeah. Who will be is the interesting one.
Yeah.
But yeah, one.
I think Gable Stevenson will debut, won't be Kurt Angle, and will be released.
Yeah. I mean, I'm getting to the point now where I don't think he'll wrestle at all. I think he'll be released.
Do you reckon?
Or even wrestles, yeah. Because like he made such a big song and dance about his debut that like about signing Gable Stevenson and the fact that then he was in the draft and like he was drafted.
That was a ridiculous one. That was what was ridiculous was the draft.
And he keeps like showing up randomly on Raws with the medal going, look what I did. And that I think it's gonna get to a point where like it's kind of like it's like Emelina or it's like bloody Veer now at the moment on Raw. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're gonna keep promising to the point that people are gonna be like, we honestly don't care anymore if he shows up or not. The appeal is gone, like, and they'll just release him. They'll do away with him. Like we've seen him do it for a lot less. And like, yeah, like that now. Like, I don't care how good of an amateur wrestler he is. like, is he an interesting character? Does he have a personality? Can he cut a promo? Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, Kurt Angle was lightning in a bottle, and you could argue maybe Ronda Rousey after him, but even at that, Ronda's promos weren't always the best. But like, like they've been trying since to replicate Kurt Angle, and trying and failing. And yeah, is Gable Steveson the answer? I don't know, but do you know what it probably means? It probably means Chad Gable's released, because they're not going to have two Gables on the same roster. So, and who they value more.
Yeah. And my last one is that Finn Balor will leave WWE.
Yeah.
Just given how his second main roster runs.
This is it. It's so annoying how, like, he went from he was an unbelievable NXT champion, then he went to the main roster. He's treated like gold at the start, then he got injured, and then he was forgotten about. Then he went back to NXT, went on an even better NXT title reign, you could argue, and then went back up again and was forgotten about again. Especially after the demon thing with Roman as well, like, that's killed that forever.
That fucking demon thing was. But see, this was the thing as well. It was, the whole time he was in NXT, they didn't do the demon, and he was like, I don't want to do the demon because they use it as a crutch. He was like, I want to be Finn Balor for a while, and then he was up in the main roster, and he was like, oh, Vince has assured me, he won't use the demon as a crutch, or we might even do the demon. And then, like, 2 weeks later, he was getting the fucking makeup on him. He was like,
poor stupid naive Finn. Yeah, I think he could go. Would he go to AEW? Would he go back to Japan?
I could see both.
Yeah, why not both? I just want to see Finn do well because he's Irish, and because he's also one of the best wrestlers in the world. So yeah, I want to see Finn do well. And whether that's in WWE or not, I don't really care. To be honest, I just want to see him do well.
So yeah, that's it for my predictions for 2022. Shall we move on to the champions?
Yeah.
So I have the list of champions that we named for 2021.
All right.
So, and from there, we'll go universal. Like, I'll say universal champion. I'll name out who we had last year, and then we'll name out who we'll have for next year. Do for each title. So, just as we were starting off, we started off with universal champion. I had Roman. You had Roman. It's Roman. So yay. 2022, Billy, who do you have?
Roman
as well, yeah.
No, genuinely.
Roman too.
So I don't know. I don't know if he'll hold it like without a break. I think he could lose it and win it again. But I think by this time next year, he'll be champion again. Whether it's after losing it or not, I don't know. But I think he will be champion.
Okay. This is where it starts to get funny.
Yeah.
Raw tag. Last year I had Retribution, and you said in the thing that's actually not a bad pick, which is hilarious. And you had Ricochet and Mustafa Ali.
Fair enough. I don't know where I pulled them out of my arse off, but like it's fair enough.
Who is the Raw tag team champions right now?
RK Bro.
RK Bro.
Like no one could have predicted that. So like that's fair enough.
2022. I know you struggled. You said last night you were struggling to
see. I was trying to think of someone other than the New Day or the Usos.
Yeah, but like they're the safe bets because they're the only tag teams guaranteed to still be a tag team.
This is it. Like this is the problem. I went with the Street Profits for Raw tag. I don't know why. They might even be on Raw, but like who knows?
They might even be in the company.
They might even be.
I have. I went with MSK.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because again, same as you, they're a tag team. Like, they're one of 5 real tag teams. Because I was thinking RK Bro, and then I was like, no, that's not gonna last.
That's gonna end.
Go.
That's gonna end before Mania.
I think they are gonna face each other at Mania. But yeah. I had Dom Mysterio. You had Samoa Joe.
Who is it's Shinsuke Nakamura.
Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah.
So 2022, who'd you have?
I took a punt on this one. I went Grayson Waller.
Okay.
I feel like he's going to get fast tracked to the main roster. It looks that way already, and I feel like WWE are going to push him hard because he can get heat. But again, I don't know yet if it's the heat that they want. So I'm going to go Grayson Waller. I'm going for a guy. Yeah, I'm going to take a punt on that one.
I'm going to go with Happy Corbin because why not? I mainly just made my picks based off who do I know is going to still be there next year, and hedge my bets that way.
Yeah,
but I'm going to go Baron Corbin. Raw Women's.
Who did we have last year?
Raw Women's last year. I had Bailey. You had Rhea Ripley. It's
Who is it?
Lynch.
Oh, it's Becky. Yeah. To be fair, was it Becky was out pregnant when we did this last time, so we never could have said that, surely.
Yeah.
I've gone for Bianca Belair. I think she will be champion again. That's inevitable. I think that if she's still on Raw, I think she'll be champion. So yeah, Bianca.
I've gone Sasha Banks.
Fair enough.
It's hard to call because anyone of them could be champion. Becky could still be champion.
Becky could still be champion. Yeah, definitely.
So it's hard to call. WWE Championship last year. I went Adam Cole. Times have changed.
Yeah.
And you went Drew McIntyre.
Okay. Yeah.
It is, of course, Big E.
Yeah.
This year I'm going Seth Rollins to be done.
I'm also going Seth Rollins.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
I thought that was a bit out of left field, but he's due a title reign.
Yes, this is my thinking as well. I was like, he hasn't held anything in a while, and he keeps losing all his feuds, and I feel like eventually he's gonna have to go on a run. So yeah, Seth for WWE champion.
Very good. US, I went Angel Garza, and you went Keith Lee.
Both terrible options, but okay.
Who would you have for next year to be US champion?
Current US
Who
champion.
is the US champion?
Damian Priest is the current US champion. Next year, again, I took a bit of a punt. I took a bit of a punt on my mid-card titles, but I went Austin Theory for US champion next year. He's doing segments with Vince. I feel like he's kind of there's surely something there. Do you know what I mean? That they see. So I mean, he's great.
See, the thing is though, it's a double-edged sword when you're doing segments with Vince, because it's good that he trusts you to be in his segments, but that also means you're in his eye line, which means when it comes to who should we release, you're in his mind.
Yeah.
So I went Sheamus again. I said, who's going to be here this time next year? Probably Sheamus. So, makes sense.
Yeah.
SmackDown tag. I went Street Profits. You went Usos.
I was right. Cool.
So there you go. For 2022, I'm going New Day.
Okay. Yeah. Again, hedge the bets. I struggled with this, and now after thinking on it and saying it out loud now, I'm almost certain that at least one of them won't be in the company, and it's I have Imperium as SmackDown Tag Team Champions.
Interesting.
I was just trying to think of tag teams, in NXT around the place that could come up and do it, and generally Imperium is where I landed. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not confident in that one, but yeah, Imperium.
Fair enough. Moving on to the 24/7 title.
Oh, yeah,
Last year,
SmackDown Women's title.
I have the 24/7 title first. But
Okay.
It's there. Moving on to the 24/7 title. Last year you had R-Truth. Last year I had the Hurricane.
It's Dana Brooke.
It's of course Dana Brooke. Who do you have this year?
Do I have to pick one? Can I say it?
There's pick someone. I'll tell you who I picked. I picked Pat McAfee as 24/7 champion next year.
Fair enough. I'll go Ivar.
Okay. Definitely won't be in the company this time next year. Okay.
Yeah. Ivar of the Viking Raiders.
Okay. SmackDown Women's. Last year we both went Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
It is of course Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
So next year, who do you have?
I went for your Raw Women's Champion. I've gone for Sasha Banks. If she's still on SmackDown, again, this obviously it's all hard to tell because they could swap them over. But I feel like Sasha's going to take the title back eventually. Because I feel like they will. I feel like they're going to want to build to a Bianca Sasha thing again. And if they do the brand supremacy crack, that's probably where they'll do it. They'll do Bianca versus Sasha at Survivor Series next year for brand supremacy. Well, I don't know. So yeah, Sasha Banks.
I went Ronda Rousey for this time next year. I said I'd change it up now. I'd take a punt on one.
Yeah.
So I went Ronda Rousey.
Fair enough.
NXT. We both went Karrion Kross. So, but who could have predicted? No, we could have easily predicted the champ would be NXT champion.
Yeah.
But no, not this NXT.
Yeah.
Who do you have for next?
My NXT predictions are a bit skewed, all right, because who knows? But
well, I only went because we did this last year as well. I only predicted the NXT and NXT UK. And I didn't even predict the NXT UK because I already predicted it's going to be gone.
I didn't predict NXT. I did all the NXT titles and I did all the AEW titles as well. So
okay, I go on. So I'll play along. I'll make people up.
So for NXT, I went Carmelo Hayes. I think of the bunch I think he's the best one. I think he's quite good. So
yeah,
I'd like to see him pushed.
I went Braun Breaker.
I feel like he will be champion. I feel like he will be champion at some point during next year. But I think Hayes might beat him. I think Hayes might be the one to beat him. But fair enough. For my NXT women's,
go on.
I'll just rattle them off and you can answer. For my NXT women's, I went Cora Jade. I feel like they're bigging her up as the next face of the NXT women's division. She's only 21, I think. She's really young, and she's got years ahead of her. So I feel like she's winning it. She's obviously in the triple threat match at New Year's Eve for the title against Mandy Rose and Raquel Gonzalez. I don't think she's winning. I think Mandy retains there, but I think she will eventually win the title. How about you, NXT Women's Champion?
I genuinely see him keeping around Mandy for a year.
Think a year?
Yeah, I think they need an established person. I think she's comfortable in the character that she's in now. I think she's in for a long reign. So
yeah, fair enough.
She's going to hold us.
Cool, fair enough. For North American champion, I went Solo Sikoa. Obviously, to the lesser known, he's the younger brother of the Usos. He debuted a couple of weeks ago, and he has this Street Fighter gimmick. And he's basically just squashing people. But he looks really promising in what we've seen. He looks like a mixture of the Usos and Umaga, or Samoa Joe. It's very he has like a hint of everyone in there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's really good. I think he'll be a big deal. So yeah, I gone for him. I mean, but who knows? Who knows if North American Championship will still be a thing. You North American champion?
I'll agree. I don't have anyone else in mind that could be a better argument than that, to be honest. Yeah, so I'll agree.
Fair enough. For NXT Tag, I went for Grizzly Young Veterans. Because they feel like they've been really cast by the wayside now. They don't get any love anymore. And yeah, why not? Just give them a win, for God's sake. Give Grizzly Young Veterans a win. Do you have anyone else in mind?
Well, to see, the thing is, with tags especially, like, it could be anyone.
Yeah, this is it. Like, you know what I mean? They could make a makeshift one, people could break up, you don't know. For AEW,
just going off NXT UK though first. Last year we did predict NXT UK. So last year I predicted Ilya Dragunov and you predicted Rampage Brown. I'm not going to predict this year because I don't think it's going to be a belt. If you want to predict, be my guest.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I don't know. I really don't know. I'll leave it off because, like you said, I think it could be gone. Like, you know, I don't want to.
Okay. Yeah. We also predicted the IWGP.
Okay.
Just the world title. Last year I predicted Jay White. You predicted Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
It's obviously Shingo Takagi.
Sure.
Who, if you're to predict next year?
I'm gonna say Will Ospreay. I'm gonna say it gets back to Ospreay. I think Okada wins it at Wrestle Kingdom. I think he beats Shingo, and then on the second night he faces Ospreay. I think he'll beat Ospreay as well. But I think Ospreay might. Will Ospreay win the G1? I don't know. I think Ospreay will get it back eventually. I'm gonna say Ospreay. I don't know though.
I'm saying Okada. I think Ospreay wins the G1, and we get Okada Ospreay next year as well.
I feel like that's another option. I feel like that could happen as well. Yeah, fair enough.
For AEW,
yeah.
Last year we both went Hangman Page, so congratulations to us.
Who?
Next year, I am going Adam Cole.
Yeah, fair enough. Could happen. Wouldn't be surprised. I'm going for one Mr. Cody Rhodes.
I had him, and I took him out.
I think this is how I think it's going to go. I think MJF beats Hangman. Or, well, if Danielson doesn't beat him, I think MJF will be the one to take the title off Hangman.
Yeah.
I think a returning Jon Moxley beats MJF. I think Jon Moxley will make his big return to a massive ovation, and he beats MJF, becomes the two-time champion. And then I think Cody will eventually turn heel and, you know, revoke his bloody thing and beat the conquering hero. Like, Moxley was after battling his demons and coming back and winning the title. Cody then beats him. And I think Cody will end the year as champion.
Yeah, I could see that. I could also see the exact same scenario, but replace Moxley with CM Punk. I could see MJF winning, CM Punk winning, and then Cody winning.
Yeah, I think you could. No, you could. Genuinely, you could replace a few cogs in there, but I think the same result would be the same.
AEW Women's, we both went Britt Baker. So again, congratulations to us. AEW seems to be a lot more predictable.
A lot more streamlined.
Next year, who do you have?
I went for someone who's not in the company yet, and I went for a bit of.
I also went for someone who's not in the company.
I went for a bit of recency bias as well. I went for Tony Storm.
Interesting.
Because her and Britt Baker are friends in real life. They're actually good friends. I feel like Britt, because the thing is, everywhere else Tony Storm has been, she's been a huge star. She's a fucking unbelievable wrestler. And I feel like in AEW she would actually be treated as such. And I think if she showed up, she would be someone who people would think is capable of beating Britt.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going for Tony Storm. I think Britt's going to hold it for a good long while into 2022 as well. Like, but I feel like Tony Storm when she eventually ends up there, which I think she will beat her. So yeah, Tony Storm.
Fair enough. I went Bailey.
Wow, that's a big shout, yeah. That's a punt. That's a punt.
It's one of those now where I'll be sitting here now next year, either smug out because I got it right, or you'd be laughing at me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went Bailey for AEW Women's Champion next year. Tag. I went for last year. I went the Acclaimed. You went Private Party. We couldn't have been more wrong.
Yeah, it's the Lucha Bros.
Yeah. 2022.
I have Jurassic Express. I feel like they're like the consummate tag team of the tag team division. They're like the baby faces who are always there. They're always involved, but they haven't won the big one yet. I feel like they will in 2022. Whether they end the year on it.
I feel with them, I think if they do introduce the trios title, I think they'll be the inaugural winners.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
But I could definitely see them being tag team champions because they've been one of the very few constants in the division. So, I could definitely see them winning it. I went for an outside of the box tag team. I went CM Punk and Bryan Danielson.
Oh, okay. That's a big one because like, how do they end up together and who do they beat?
Well, going off the back of Punk was asked when he first started what are some of his dream matches, and he said one of his dream matches is him and Bryan Danielson against the Young Bucks. So yeah, he has it in his mind. He wants to be in a tag team with Bryan Danielson. They're both from the same era. They're both from, they're both technically outsiders. They both debuted at the same time, roughly,
Yeah. Interesting.
And they both have a large history together. So
yeah, it'd be cool. Like, I mean, I'd be up for it. But yeah, be surprising though. Yeah, cool, fair enough.
TNT champion. We didn't predict these last year. I don't know why, but we didn't. So for this year, good job.
It correlates with my my predictions for 2022. I said he was going to go unbeaten. It's going to be Hook. Hook is going to be TNT. And this thing, because I thought about this, right? I thought about like if he goes unbeaten, like people are going to be like, "Oh, where is he in the rankings? Why isn't he challenging for the world title and stuff like this?" Like, if you put the TNT title on him and keep him unbeaten, you can avoid that. So I think he wins the TNT title early enough in the year, probably double or nothing, and then keeps it to the end of the year.
Could you imagine a scenario where Hook chokes out Cody for the TNT championship in 20 seconds?
But like, this is it. Like, do you know what I mean? Why not?
The place would go insane.
And like, you could use that then as like the straw that broke the camel's back with Cody, and that's what drives him bananas. Because like,
I think there's no one worse you could put in there with Cody right now in terms of like reaction than Hook. Because they will boo the shit out of Cody if he's up against Hook. Like.
And the thing is, right? And the more I think about it, the more I love it because like, I can hear the promo already of Cody being like, this kid is only like he's only a wrestler less than a year. Like I've been busting my ass for 20 years and you don't even respect me.
And Cody also trained him. Yeah,
Cody trained him. Did you watch his match with Bear Bronson on Rampage last week, Hooks? So he gets like,
yeah, I saw bits of it. Yeah,
you see when he gets hit with the pile driver and he like no sells it and gets up.
And he no sells it.
Yeah. You see people's like theories behind that as to like, because some people weren't happy with it. They're like, why is he no sell a pile driver? But like people theorized it that Taz has had him doing neck rolls since he was like 5, and like he's because of judo. No, because of judo, he has like this unbelievably strong neck. And could you imagine like a scenario in the match with Cody that like Cody hits a crossroads and he just gets up and no sells it? Because like,
well, see, Taz used no sell pile driver, so that's where it comes from.
Yeah. Like this is it. Like I mean, like it's in his genes to no sell this. So yeah, I'm going for Hook. Because I love Hook and I want all nice things, bro.
I'm going Jungle Boy.
Yeah,
I think they go on so much about pillars and all that, and I think he needs to win a title now soon. Whether it's a tag, it's a thing, but I think TNT title is perfect for him. So I'm going Jungle Boy. And the last one, it's a new title with the inaugural match happening next week.
Yeah.
The TBS title. Who for next year? Who do you have?
It's hard because we don't even have a first one yet. But it's because I was trying to think then as well, like who do I have as like a mid-carder in the women's division who would be good for a champion? And I genuinely don't know. It could be anyone. Like I went for Ruby Soho.
I did too.
Yeah, same. Just because she's a good hand. She'd be like she's. I don't want to say she's a perennial mid-carder, but like she'd be great to have every week wrestling good matches. You know what I mean? Like it's that's the appeal to her. Like, you know what I mean? She's a great wrestler. You want to see her. You want to see her wrestle. There. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, just like she's a great wrestler. You want to see her do well. You want to see her wrestle all the time. She could have great matches with everybody. Yeah, so why not? Ruby Soho.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, listen, we've gone on now for near 3 hours, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it there now. We thank you for listening. It's been, for us, for our standpoint, from podcast standpoint, it's been a fantastic year also. It's been the most successful year in terms of downloads we've had, especially in the first half of 2021 when we were doing interviews and we got the chance to speak to people in all walks of life in the pro wrestling world, which was great. Just kind of a housekeeping statement. The second half of 2021 we became significantly busier, hence why the podcast is less sparingly, which is why there's less guests or to no guests in the second half of 2022. We don't plan for it to stay that way. With once colleges and other things are out of the way, we plan to get back to our normal programming, but for the time being, we are moving the podcast to a once a month pre-pay-per-view podcast. So before you'll get a preview of any big pay-per-view coming up in that month for the time being, and then we'll revert to normal programming when the time's right.
Yeah.
So we thank everyone for their continued support, and here's to a successful 2022. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, guys, and happy New Year from us here at Just Because Wrestling. And we'll see you on the other side.
Thanks, guys.